Now on to the Ask Steve SQL questions. So this one was submitted, and the question came in as, what is the grandfather father son backup schedule, or GFS? And this is one of those that's really useful to understand when it comes to backups. Now, when people think of backups, a lot of the times people, until we've had a discussion, don't have backups that meet their expectations. And a couple of weeks ago, we talked about recovery point objectives, recovery time objectives, things like that. And oftentimes, I mean, none of us have unlimited disk space. So in a perfect world, you could have every backup of your database from every point in time since it was ever created. But we're all constrained by disk space. So if you wanted to have daily backups for an entire year, you would effectively have to have about 365 times the number of, or the size of your backup set, that amount of disk space. But what the grandfather father son backup schedule does is it gives you a way to have longer term retention without chewing up as much disk space. So what you get is you get daily backups for the last 7 days of backups. What that means is you have daily granularity, and you probably have some log backups in there as well for 7 days, which is pretty good. You've got good coverage for 7 days. But what happens if something was lost or destroyed in your data that you didn't realize for beyond that 7 days? Well, with that, we then have weekly backups that would be a full backup that keep 4 weeks of those weekly backups. So then we're covered for the first month. We've got great granularity for the first 7 days. We've got weekly granularity for the next 3 weeks after that. And then we throw in what's called the grandfather level, or monthly backups, where we retain 12 months or more of monthly backups. So instead of, with this, we end up with a whole year of full backups, but we don't have the same granularity of one per day with 365 of them. Instead, we have 12 plus 4 plus 7, or 23 sets of full backups to have a whole year's worth of backups there, rather than 365. And it's a really useful way to manage longer term backup retention without chewing up as much disk space as you might think. So the grandfather father son backup retention method is a great way to extend your backup coverage without having to use as much disk space.